Well, about a month ago, just over a month ago, I interviewed Andrew Middleton for the first time. He's the co-founder and chief executive of Gosolr. And within the last month, I've applied, had the installation, and I'll tell you what, I'm a very, very happy client of this company. So there you have it, Andrew. You've got an endorsement coming from the guy who's interviewing you today. So it's going to be a little difficult to be completely objective, but we'll do our best. I guess that's why I like doing what I'm doing, because I meet lots of interesting people. I get to see some amazing companies, and yours is. It really is. You brought solar to households, to residential households, without the huge upfront investment that one requires in capital. And I'm renting a solution from you. And the solution that I think we're paying 2,900 Rand a month. So it's quite a big system that we've got here, but it was installed pretty quickly. As you said, it would take a couple of weeks, and it was done in a day. Now, I remember the last solar installation that I had in Johannesburg. I think it took over a week. So is this part of your whole business model?
Absolutely. And Alec, firstly, thanks for having me, and I'm really happy to have you as a customer. So I'm very pleased that you're happy. We've got thousands of happy customers, so welcome to Gosolr. Very happy about that. You've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the problem statement that we identified was really the one of scale. So there was scale challenges across residential solar, everywhere from supply chain to installation, and that's why the pricing was high and the service was unreliable. So having the installation done in one day is just one of the elements that we've brought with scale, and that's how our installers are able to get multiple installations done a month and also make money. So it's all about scale and repetition, and we've been going for 20 months, so it wasn't always an installation a day, but we certainly getting much better at it.
And high quality. The guys who came here know what they are doing. They all have their different jobs. I think it was a team of 6 people, and by the time they left that evening, everything was working the way that it should be. And I think that probably also is a mind barrier to entry for many people to think, oh my goodness, how long is it going to take to put all of this together? And yet there it was, and is working well. But what about the price? That's the one thing that I also really, really like, because I'm seeing that Eskom are wanting bigger and bigger increases. Certainly the information that we've got is its prices aren't going to be going backwards anytime soon from Eskom. How are you pitching your pricing?
Sure. No, I think that's one of our key differentiators. We are one of the most affordable in the market, and we always aim to keep that as affordable as possible. At the moment, the primary reason why people are going with solar and Gosolr is load shedding backup. And that's something we need to educate and change the mindset, because actually solar is not just a sustainable technology that provides load shedding backup. It's also one of the most affordable globally, and it'll continue to get cheaper as those double-digit price increases come through from Eskom. We've just seen from the 1st of July, most of the municipalities have increased between 15 and 18%. We are very confident that Gosolr will be a cheaper source of energy in most households and most cities very soon. So that's an important part of our longevity as a company. Load shedding, we hope we're going to be part of the solution. We hope load shedding disappears in a few years' time, and then we want to provide reliable, affordable, and clean energy to households.
Andrew, how long do you think load shedding is going to last for?
Well, there's a couple of estimates out there. I think the consensus is at least 2 years. Unfortunately, I've seen some reports that stretch it out a bit longer. We obviously hope that it will be much shorter. As I mentioned previously on the show, we think if we can hit our targets, we can take half a stage of load shedding off. I think already what I've seen very encouraging is load shedding has been a little bit easier this winter so far. And if you look into some of the reasons for it, it's not Eskom performance, I think, that often gets the headlines. I think there's at least 1 to 2 gigawatts of wind energy that's been produced over the last winter. So that's a renewable source of energy that's taken 1 to 2 stages of load shedding off already. So I'm very encouraged with some of the developments in the renewable energy industry overall. I think that the private sector will solve this. So hopefully it's 2 years, Alec.
It was interesting today. We've got a piece on BizNews about Jan Oberholzer, the chief operating officer, who I met with for an hour. In fact, I had an hour's interview a couple of weeks ago, and I was worried that maybe what he said in that interview caused him to lose his job, but that isn't the case. He's actually moved off into the private sector now to try and be part of the solution on that side, which is also quite instructive and supports what you've just said.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact reasons there. I was quite concerned when I saw the headline. I think someone with 30 years experience in Eskom, and certainly the two projects that he's been tasked with helping was getting Kusile and Kuberg back online. Those are very important for Eskom. So I was a bit concerned when I saw that, but good to hear that he's coming into the private sector, because I think the private sector could use those types of skills as well and experience.
Just getting back to Gosolr itself, your value proposition is not just that you will not be increasing prices at the same rate that Eskom's doing it, and that you don't need all the capital up front to be load shedding free, as it were. What is the other big thing that you market on?
To start, we never thought we'd be a load shedding backup business. That was never the intention. But what we do see is that the demand is very correlated to load shedding at the moment. So a little bit of an ease in load shedding. We see less interest in the website, which is very interesting. I think the two main factors that solar brings is it's an affordable source of energy, it's a decentralized source of energy, so you're in control of it, and it's clean, and that's what we need as a planet. I think what our model does as well is it introduces that no hassle factor. I think that's the important thing. Your experience, I think your testament to that, it was easy. We're trying to make solar simple. You also need someone to phone. The system does need maintenance and repairs, and you've now got a business that offers you a service, as opposed to the old way, which was to buy a product and hope it works.
And it's also easy to understand for the first time. I can actually see on your board, when you say simple, I can see where the electricity is being used in the house, how much. I know not to put on the underfloor heating, for instance, where it's a very old system that chews it. It's like we as a nation are becoming more informed.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface of what we can do. I think the starting point is to build it and put it into your home. But once we start the active monitoring that we're working on with our technology partners, I think then the information that we've got around household usage and how we can help our customers be more efficient, when to use their power, what is the constraints, when are they using too much power, and that really will enable a more efficient, smarter household, which I think is the future.
Have you got any international models that you are following, i.e., we hear a lot about Vietnam, for instance, and how the private sector's got involved there. Have you been learning from anyone else?
Absolutely. Vietnam's a great example. I think that shows just in a very short space of time what the right incentives can do to residential rooftop solar, and the results there have just been mind-blowing. So we really hope that South Africa follows some of those learnings from Vietnam, in particular around what incentives can do to encourage private sector investment. There are other companies that we follow that have a similar model to Gosolr. A lot of businesses in Europe and the US. So this solar as a subscription or solar leasing model isn't new, and it's very widespread internationally in developed markets, and it's doing very well. And we do track those businesses and see what they're doing, so we can keep on innovating.
And the Elon Musk operation, I think it's called, is it Solar City, the one with his nephews, the Reeve brothers in America?
Yeah, so Solar City, I think, is cousin and nephews, yes. Solar City effectively got bought into Tesla, and yes, they do have a leasing subscription product. So yes, absolutely, one of the large players in the US. There's three or four really big players. I think Solar City, Tesla's got 500,000 customers, and I think the biggest there is a business called Sunrun, close to 1 million customers in the US. So that market's just massive. But doing a lot of 80% of what they do is what we do.
And how much scope do you have for expansion? One would presume that load shedding is not going to get any easier. Let's just say it goes up to level 6 again, or even goes to level 8 that some people have been talking about. Then your website's going to be flooded, no doubt. How big can you get?
Well, I think the runway in South Africa is still huge. So we still have significant plans to grow. I think we've reached a very good level at this stage. We think probably on a monthly basis, there's still some nice runway here. And there's a lot of market in South Africa. There's 16.7 million homes in South Africa. At the moment, we've got a product for 2 million homes. So there's plenty to do in South Africa. We've some opportunities have come our way around neighboring countries, and those are interesting. Places like Zimbabwe and Namibia, I think, are interesting. And then there are, globally, there's a push for residential subscription solar. I don't think we're going to necessarily have any relevance to compete in some of the markets that are very well developed and competitive. But the technology and the IP that we're developing, we think we can export to other places. We'll obviously be cautious. I know from my past life that South African corporates sometimes don't travel well. So I think we're going to focus on home base and consolidating here for the short to medium term. But we certainly think there's opportunities to expand our footprint if the opportunity arises.
And within South Africa itself, last time we spoke, you said you are looking at new cities, new areas. Have you added anyone on in the last month?
So in the last month, what we've done is really just a bit of an expansion of our footprint around our current base. So we're in 5 of the major provinces at the moment. So Gauteng, we are in the Greater Pretoria and Johannesburg area. We are looking to increase that footprint more to the south of Gauteng, southern Gauteng. In KZN, we're very much a Durban North Coast business, and we want to try and expand that to parts of the South Coast and into the Midlands area, where I think there's a lot of good homes there. And then the Western Cape, we've got a good footprint in the winelands in the Cape Town area and the Garden Route as well. We're in the Eastern Cape in PE, but that's the only place we're in. So I think there's lots of opportunities in the Eastern Cape. And then Bloemfontein is a market for us as well. So we are national, but we're not in every city. But that is the plan very soon.
If I was sitting in your shoes, and of course there's all kinds of other things that have to come into it, but to look at those municipalities who are so deeply indebted to Eskom that they're going to struggle to repay that debt or indeed just to service who they are serving at the moment. And there are 5 of them that owe 30 billion. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Are those particular opportunities? And I say this because looking at the comments underneath the first interview that we had, there were some pleas from people in rural areas saying we are being charged so much by the municipalities who are cash starved. Please come to us, and we need your service here more than the people in the cities.
No, absolutely. There's plenty of opportunity for our products, and there's plenty of opportunity to work with those municipalities as well. We work with municipalities on a daily basis, so I think we can coexist with the municipalities. We can provide them actually cheaper electricity than they can buy from Eskom once we get into the feed-in conversation. But I think there is a big opportunity to coexist with these struggling municipalities and help them, one, collect, 2, provide reliable power to their customers without any necessary strain on the grid and the infrastructure. One of the beauties of residential solar is it doesn't require the transmission and distribution infrastructure that is already over capacity in South Africa. So we can provide a solution without putting more strain on municipalities' infrastructure.
So just take Harrismith as an example. They owe Eskom, that district, 7 billion rand. If you could work with a Harrismith municipality, how would you do it to enable them to perhaps get in some income and indeed to supply electricity, which at the moment has got to be very tenuous for people who live in that city?
Yeah, well, as I said, firstly, we could wholesale electricity to them from our users at a lower cost, so that would at least bring their costs down. Now, how we would collect that 7 billion, I think there, at the moment we collect via a debit order. Now, if we went into other markets that could require some level of prepaid, I think we could certainly help them with setting up their prepaid model, which would at least stop the the collection risk going forward. How we would collect that original piece, I think that would be a complicated solution. We'd certainly want to help them and work with them, but I think once you get a prepaid model working in those areas and customers using electricity and at the right price, then they may be encouraged or incentivized to pay their existing bills so that they can start using electricity again. So I think there's ways that we can play a part. I'm not sure we're the silver bullet just yet.
Are you working with any major municipalities?
Well, every day, a lot of people don't realize that the solar systems that are in the house need to be registered with council. I think some installers don't do it. We do it with every customer. So we have a dedicated team that engages with all of the municipalities, Eskom Direct, all the municipalities that we operate in. So we work with them daily, and we've also engaged with them at a senior level. We are having some engagement with some of the major cities at a senior level, just to see if we can be part of the solution. I think Cape Town is one city that seems to be very ahead of the game in terms of trying to actively push to make load shedding a thing of the past. They're ahead on feed-in tariffs. They're looking at building their own solar farm. I think we can help Cape Town build their own solar farm without the city spending money on the capex, because we're effectively building a solar farm for them. And there's lots of forward-thinking municipalities. I think the public doesn't often realize that the people in the municipalities are working very hard, and there are a lot of good people in the municipalities that are trying to solve the solution. There's just quite a negative perception often around what the municipalities are doing, but there's some good municipalities that are trying to end load shedding for their residents.
So I think now about another forward-looking municipality, Mgeni in KZN, with Chris Pappas, who's doing so many good things on different levels. If he phoned you up and said, okay, how can you help us? How would you respond?
Well, I completely agree. I think Chris Pappas is doing a great job. If you phone me, I'd be happily meet him. And as I mentioned earlier, we do want to get into that Mgeni municipality very soon. I think Howick is a good opportunity for us and the surrounding areas. So I would welcome engagement with the mayor. I think the first thing we can do is we can help tailor a solution for the residents. Remember, we cover the capital, so this wouldn't put any further burden on the municipality. I think what we just need from the municipality is just an enabling environment, making sure that the registration, we're able to register, making sure that there's clarity around the tariffs and the meters, because unfortunately, there's no national standard for how municipalities should tariff, or whether it should be prepaid or postpaid. So every time we go into a new municipality, there's quite a lot of paperwork and red tape. So I think firstly, if we can get a municipality that's willing to help us, we'll build the solar. They don't have to put that into their budget.
Andrew, what about the exit strategy? Let's just say that I get really, you and I have a terrible fallout, and I say, I don't want anything more to do with you. How do I stop? What happens then? And by the way, I've got no intention of doing that.
Yeah, we hope that never happens, Alec, because as I say, we get called solar rental, but our view is that we should become one of your primary energy providers for life now. But one of the benefits of our model is it's flexible. So, we'll obviously upgrade the technology as and when. It's a month-to-month contract. It is upgradable, which I think a lot of our customers have taken advantage of. So you can make some changes. You can add batteries. You can upgrade the system. If for whatever reason you choose to cancel, then you can cancel with 30 days notice. We do have a deinstallation fee there, and that's just there because when we install, we don't charge you. So when we deinstall, we have to send a team to go and redeploy it. We don't make money out of that. It's just for us to be able to take the assets down and then find someone else to install it on.
So it's a month-to-month basis. Because I had to look through all the contracts and I couldn't see how long I was tied in for. And I think, the assumption, certainly talking to people, is that, it must be 7 or 10 years. Whereas you've gone very different. So if somebody comes along and they offer a far cheaper solution than your solution, then you're in trouble, or you have to adjust your prices.
Well, I think why we're confident with month to month is because we believe that our customer service will keep us ahead, and our pricing, as you can see in the market, is some of the most competitive out there. So if we continue to offer the customer service levels that we strive for and make sure that the product works well and is the latest technology, we're not scared of month to month. If we were scared about our customer service and the product we offer, then yes, we'd probably lock it in for 3, 5, 7 years. But we don't want to do that. We would rather just give a quality service to our customers.
It's an extraordinary model, and I think also great clarity that you've given us there. Look forward to the next time, Andrew. Thanks for the update, man.
Thanks, Alec.
I'm Alec Hogg from BizNews.com. Andrew Middleton is the co-founder and CEO at Gosolr.